Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome here. My name is Eleanor Josefina, and I thought I'd start like a new series on my YouTube channel talking about being a little bit more of like a stepmom and kind of what that all entails. I get a ton of questions about being a stepmom in my day-to-day life. Today's video, I just wanted to do Q&A of just a lot of the questions I get asked, whether personally or I see them floating around social media, like on Instagram. I just kind of wanted to give you guys my personal experience with step parenting and becoming a stepmom. So just giving you guys a little bit of a background on my family. I'm married to a wonderful man named Charlie. He has 2 kids from a previous marriage. So both girls, I've been in their lives for 3 years. They're 5 and 8 now, but I met them when they were 2 and 5. So I've been in their lives for about 3-ish years now. Again, Charlie and I have only been married for a year and a half, but within that year and a half, I've learned quite a lot. I will say a quick disclaimer, you guys. I do love my stepkids. I love them to death. It has not always been easy. I've not always enjoyed being a step parent. I've learned a lot through this last year and a half, just being married and living with them full time. I am a product of divorce myself, so my parents are also divorced. So I not only have this from a perspective of being a step parent, I also have this in a perspective of being a child in this. So I feel like it's a really good balance. So the first question is, how do I like being a stepmom when I really don't like being a stepmom? And I hear this question a lot from people who are step parents, how just difficult it is. I would say, first thing, this is gonna look different for everyone. If you have young kids or young step kids or older step kids, teenagers might be a little bit more difficult. So I'm gonna say this is gonna look different for absolutely everyone. First, I would say, why don't you like being a step parent? And it's okay to admit those things. Things such as like in-laws are really hard to deal with, or the ex is really hard to deal with, or just situations with certain stepkids are really difficult. Maybe you just are mourning the life you thought you would have with your family. Once you kind of voice those things, I think it kind of opens up to starting to solve those problems. So a couple of things I will say that something that I have learned and that I've heard from many parents, like biological parents with their biological children, is they have days they just can't stand their own biological children. And I've heard this from coworkers and friends and family of just like, oh my gosh, my kid is just driving me nuts today. Just take a deep breath and know that this isn't just for step parents, this is for biological parents and their biological children as well. Another thing that I do, that Charlie and I actually do together, are we have a lot of dreams and a lot of goals together. So every Thursday night we have like a sit down meeting. We talk about usually like budget stuff and family stuff. But within that conversation on Thursday nights, we also talk about like our dreams and goals, like buying a house someday, like getting out of debt. I love traveling, he loves traveling. For me personally, I really wanted to go to grad school and graduate from it, so I did do that. I did get my MBA. But once I set like my goals, it really helps me to keep looking forward to the future and not like sit in the moment, because I think the biggest lie we tell ourselves is life is always gonna be this way. My life is always gonna stink. I'm always gonna have a hard life. I'm always not gonna like my job. I'm always not gonna like my stepkids. I'm always not gonna like, being a step parent. And I just feel like that is a lie. There's a lot of things you can do to combat that. But the lie that we always tell ourselves is that it's just always gonna be this way, and it is not. But I would highly recommend, going to therapy or marriage counseling, just to kind of keep looking forward to the good things in life and not the bad. So when times are rough, just make sure you're thinking about the goals you have and talking about them and keep running towards those, because I think sometimes we get so caught up on, drama with the kids and drama with the ex and drama with the in-laws and drama at work and everything like that, where just to rise above and just to keep looking at your goals and keep dreaming. So the second question is best advice for the first year of marriage. I would say definitely dream together, like I just talked about. So dream together, have like meetings together, and like really enjoy that time, whether it's like a date night or a sit down coffee date, whatever it is. I would say, once again, write down goals that you guys are looking forward to and start achieving those goals. Honestly, one thing that is like huge is go to therapy. Go to therapy individually and then go to therapy as a couple. I kind of hesitated to go to therapy for the long time. I don't know. I just kind of put it off. I was like, I don't need it. Oh, we don't need it. Like, it's fine. I don't want to spend the extra money. It has changed our lives. And even though we didn't have like huge problems to begin with, it was nice to bite things in the butt before they became like a huge issue. I would also say definitely pray about it. I'm a Christian, and I'm so happy that I prayed so much about it. And I really, truly do see the blessings that have come through a lot of things. And when I tell you, we have been through a lot together, money problems with in-laws, problems with, kids, stepkids. I'm also pregnant right now, so there's been things with that, things with the ex. There's been a lot of different things, and I've really seen God come through in a lot of crazy ways. So I would definitely say pray about it. Also, I would say take a deep breath. There's going to be some high emotions in the first year, again, from in-laws, from the ex, from the kids, from you and your spouse. Like there's just a lot of emotions going on, and I would say just feel free to take a deep breath, chill out. Maybe you gotta go out and go for a walk some days just to get out of the house. Sometimes when the kids come over, maybe when it's a transition day, just prepare yourself for that. When is it the hardest for you? Take a deep breath, prepare yourself for it, and then just be prepared to face whatever you are nervous about. How to mourn the honeymoon phase. Okay, so I will say that honestly, one, I don't know any different. Two, a lot of people in their first marriages don't even have a honeymoon phase. A lot of people in their marriages, their first year is actually the hardest. So I don't feel like I've lost anything, really. I feel like we've definitely learned a lot. I don't know. I don't feel like I ever really missed out on it. And honestly, it's never too late if you really feel like you need a honeymoon stage. I don't know why people just think that's in the first year of marriage. I don't know why you guys can't like continue to dream and go on trips and still have this honeymoon stage in your 7th year of marriage. Like, I don't get that. So first time meeting the stepkids. First time I really met the stepkids was my husband's sister was getting married. This is back when my husband and I were dating. She was getting married, and that was the first time I met him. And they kind of introduced me as Dad's friend. So I was Dad's friend, Eleanor. And that's kind of how we got introduced to the children, or how I got introduced to the children. And I'm happy it was that way. They kind of got used to me. They got warmed up to me. And then Charlie sat them down and was like, hey, what do you think about Eleanor being my girlfriend? And then explaining to them, because they were very, very young, explained to them what that meant. And they were 3 and 6 at that time. So we actually didn't tell them for like a good 9 months, I think. I didn't meet them for a good 6 months, and then I don't think we told them for a while. And it was the same thing for marriage. When Charlie asked for my hand in marriage, before he did that, he sat the girls down and said, hey, how do you feel about Eleanor becoming your stepmom and living with us? And it was a big thing for Charlie to ask them for approval, just because they felt like they had a say in it. And I think that is huge. Again, being a kid of divorce, I think that is a really, really big deal. So those are the kind of first times I really met the stepkids. How do you feel about your partner going inside the ex's house when picking up the kids? I get this kind of question and questions like this, like, how do you feel about your husband and his ex interacting? Honestly, I feel fine with it. I know some people don't. And the number one thing, when Charlie goes inside the house to pick up the kids, he's doing it for his kids. And the kids want to show him their new toy, and they're super excited, and they're excited to show him their newly painted room or whatever it is. And just being 100% for the kids, I guess for me, I just don't really care. I know that things obviously didn't work out between him and his ex, and that it was a really, really, really hard first marriage for Charlie. So honestly, I just don't really have any hesitations really at all. And if you do, I would think about why that reasoning is. So the next question is, do I attend school things and school events? Honestly, I haven't. One of my stepchildren is going to be in 3rd grade, and she just hasn't had a lot of events. And then my other stepdaughter is still in childcare, so there's not really a lot of events to go to, honestly. And when they're older, I definitely will. When they have sports games or some sort of spelling bee or something, I would definitely go to it. How to negotiate a schedule change. So honestly, I would say if it's a big enough reason that you need a schedule change, have your reasons for why there needs to be a schedule change. Maybe having them on a week on and then a week off is just too much time for you to be away from the kids, or maybe you do need a week on, week off because the kids are a little bit older and they're teenagers and they can handle being a week on or week off, where littler kids, it might be a little bit more difficult for that. Or maybe you just want more time with them. Maybe you have them, every other weekend or something, and you want to have them every weekend. So I would just lay down the reasons for them. And if they're genuine good reasons, I feel like the ex should be okay with that. And then talking about that through the court system or the mediator system or whatever you have. Is it okay to do a photo shoot without your stepkids, but just with your kids? I had to think about this one just a little bit. I would say if it was like a formal photo shoot, like for maybe like a Christmas card, I would say I would definitely want my stepkids there so they feel like they're part of the family. And that's me speaking in terms of being a kid of this and kind of being a kid of divorce, I would want to be there. If it's obviously like, you know, a baby photo shoot, like I'm pregnant right now, and if it's like a photo shoot for my baby, of course, like I don't feel like my stepkids have to be in it. But if it's like a formal Christmas card, I would say yes, definitely have your stepkids there. One thing that we do for our Christmas cards is we don't take a formal photo of our family. We take photos, like a bunch of photos from throughout the year. We do like a hodgepodge mural or collage or whatever, and then we write like a story of like everything that happened within that year, so no one feels left out, and no one ever will feel left out in that way. Do you go to support your spouse at court? I would say this definitely depends. I would say definitely right away. If you're newly into your marriage, I would say no, because I just think it ruffles a lot of feathers that just do not need to be ruffled. If you've been married for a very long time, you know, years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus years, and he's going to court for something, then I'd say possibly, maybe. Is it gonna make matters better, or is it gonna make matters worse? I don't know. I think that's something that takes a little bit more of discernment. I would say definitely in your first year or two of marriage, I would say no. Talk about it beforehand. Tell your spouse that you support them so much. Talk about it after the court. How did it go? Yeah, unless there was abuse or something and your spouse really needs the support. Besides that, I would say I probably wouldn't, honestly. Have you ever felt jealousy about your spouse and his ex and their first marriage together? Personally, and thank goodness, I do not feel jealousy from it. I don't want to get like too personal because it's not like my business to share, but I know that his first marriage was very, very difficult. It was a very bad, sad situation. I mean, they got married very, very quickly in a courthouse wedding, so he's never really had like a wedding. He never had like wedding photos and go on a honeymoon, anything like that. So I've never really felt like the second wife in any means, and I know a lot of stepmoms can feel that way. It honestly feels like his first marriage, and he's told me that himself. Even though it was a really sad situation, Charlie would not be the person or the man that he is today without that situation. There's a lot of things he just has been through and has lived through, and he would not be the person today without those things. And just like myself, I would not be the person I am today without the things I have struggled with in my life and going through a family that has divorce. But I think what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that in our marriage that we're having such a great time. So yeah. Okay, how to establish rules and boundaries in the house. One thing I will say, and this isn't just for like having like a step family, this has to do with like also like in other situations like work and stuff. When you come into a new place, you should not change like any of the rules unless they're really terrible or something like that. You should not change anything quickly at all. If I was a new manager of something at my work, I wouldn't just go in and change everything. People are creatures of habit. Everyone kind of is. So if you go in and you start changing a bunch of things, you're probably ruffle feathers when they really don't need to be ruffled. So I would say be cautious about that, and then talk to your husband. If something does need to be changed, just talk about it, and then explain to the kids why you guys are making a change, and you know, kind of the rules and whatever. And if it makes sense, the kids should understand. And again, explaining it to the kids at an age appropriate level. Obviously teenagers are going to be different than smaller children. How do I not feel like an outsider as much? Have sit down meetings with your husband and talk through that with them. Explain how you feel in calm terms. I would say definitely go to therapy, and definitely go to marriage counseling. Once again, through marriage counseling, we have got a lot of things. I just like figure it out, and just how do we go about this? Like, 'cause I've never been in a marriage, and Charlie's never been in a second marriage, and we're trying to figure this out together. So I would say definitely go to marriage counseling, because then it helps your husband figure out how to support you a little bit better. Last thing, just know going into it, your first year is probably going to be your hardest, and then it gets a lot better. And I can say that from personal experience. It was really hard in the beginning, and everyone is transitioning into having this new person, now live with them. The way I explain it is, how would you like it if your mother-in-law just moved into your house with you and was with you all the time, 100% of the time, went on every vacation, did everything with you? That's how the kids feel. They feel like there's this person, this outsider who they like, but you know, they don't, there all the time is just a lot for them. And looking at it from that perspective, it makes a lot more sense. But just know that things do get better if you stay like genuine to who you are and go to therapy and go to marriage counseling and kind of be the bigger person when drama does come up. It helps things go a lot smoother. How to come back from a huge fight with my husband's ex-wife. I thought this was an interesting question, but I've heard this a lot. I have not personally experienced this. I tend to be more of a chill person. If someone's gonna say something about me and say it behind my back, I've learned to kind of be like, whatever. Honestly, I would say try not to get in that situation in the first place. You know, if something goes down or happens, I let, you know, my husband and his ex deal with it, and I just do not get involved at all. It is not my place. I do not want to be in that place at all. I would say please try not to get in that situation in the first place. If this has already happened and you've already had the fight with this person, I would say take a breather, forgive yourself. For the sake of the situation and your stepkids, once things have calmed down a little bit, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you haven't seen the ex for a while, personally, I would just apologize for my doing and my wrong part in it. You may or may not get a sassy reply back, but honestly, just to be the bigger person and just say like, hey, I'm sorry for my part that I played in that, and I'm sorry for how that went down. You're not sucking up to them, you're not living in fear of them, but you're just saying, hey, you know, I'm sorry how that went down. And that goes for honestly all relationships. If you have a really, really hard, difficult, you know, relationship with your mother-in-law or someone at work or a friend or a family member or whatever it is, just apologizing for your part in it, not letting them trample all over you, but, you know, just being honest. I'm like, hey, sorry, that went down that way. And this is about the kids, and I just really want to move on and do better. Last question. What do I do if the ex doesn't want you at events such as sporting events or school? Gosh, I feel like everything just kind of depends on the situation. For me, it's kind of like, I would wonder why. Has there been past drama between you and them? If so, that doesn't really give someone a right not to want you somewhere. If it's in support of the kids, the stepkids, and the stepkids want you there, I would say definitely go, because the kids want you there and you want to be there. And just go and just honestly be the bigger person. And if someone says something about you, know prior to going into that situation that it's probably going to be that way. Take a deep breath, prepare yourself, and be the bigger person. And then talk about it with your therapist or your husband afterwards. And the true people that honestly matter in life are the ones whose opinions I care about. Honestly, I would just say, like, go if you want to go. Definitely go if your stepkids want you to go. But I would say don't engage in any drama. Take a deep breather and just rise above it. Okay, I know that was a lot, you guys. I just want to say that step parenting, marriage, just marriage can be just a difficult task, let alone, you know, step parenting and having to deal with all that. It can be difficult, but I swear, you guys, it can be good. It can be even great, you guys. A couple things about myself, I just want to say, like, it has been really hard. I've said that so many times in this video. I truly do enjoy my stepkids, and again, they're only 5 and 8, but we do homeschool together. I used to be an English teacher. I love doing school with them. I like decorating their room a lot. My stepkids really love me, and I don't mean to say that to sound like vain and stuff. They made me these earrings. I have like 10 pairs of these. They're like wood earrings that they can color or whatever. I tell them a bedtime story and snuggle with them and cuddle with them every single night before they go to bed. And that, oh my gosh, you guys, like 2 years ago or even a year ago, like, no, that was like not the case. And I just hope and I just pray for all of you guys, like any journey that you're going through or any rough thing that you're going to, oh my gosh, I get it. It's hard. It can be tough. Don't believe the lie that it's always going to be this way. It's not always going to be this way. You are wonderful. You're amazing. Forgive yourself. Love yourself. Be patient with yourself. Oh my gosh, be patient with yourself. But that is it, you guys, for this video. I'm so sorry it was so long, but I feel like there's just a lot. Anyway, you guys, I love you guys so much. I do. Any questions you guys have, please leave them in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you could. You guys, I love you guys so much, and I will just see you in my next video. Bye.